Good morning all. Today's topic for lecture is optics. So what is optics? Optics is a branch of physics which deals with the physics behind the vision and properties of light. So coming to the basic of the properties of light. So what is light? Light is a visible portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. It lies between the UV rays and infrared rays. So wavelength is 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. White light is made up of 7 colors, that is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. So light has dual nature, waveform and particle form. So this is the electromagnetic spectrum in which we can see the visible light is in between the infrared and ultraviolet rays. So light has a dual nature, wave nature. As light can pass through the air, vacuum and free space, it is said to be a wave nature. Also it acts as a particle. So there are some characteristics which exhibits by the light, like when it is emitted or absorbed, it is said to be a particle in nature. So phenomena explained by wave nature of the light are reflection of light, refraction, interference, diffraction and polarization. And phenomenon explained by particle nature of light are photoelectric effect, absorption of light, emission of light and scattering of light. So speed of light in vacuum is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meters per second. From one medium to another medium, frequency and color remains the same, but the wavelength and velocity of the light will vary according to the density of that medium. So light can be polarized and non-polarized. Light cannot be deflected by magnetic and electric fields. Speed of light in a medium is always lesser than in vacuum, because in the medium resistance is felt which is absent in the vacuum. So light of single wavelength is called as monochromatic light, and while white light has heterochromatic, so it has 7 colors. So what is wave? So wave consists of the wave cycle, in which you can see it consists of wavelength. The wavelength is defined as distance between two symmetrical points of the waveform. So in this graph we can see the two crests, that is upward rays of the waves. The distance between two is called as wavelength, and amplitude is the maximum displacement of an imaginary particle from the baseline of the waveform. So baseline is, you can see the horizontal line at the center, and amplitude is the upliftment or the crest of the wave. So what is interference? Interference is when two or more waves traveling in the same direction and having the same frequency superimposed. So their resultant wave at the region of superimposition has intensity which is different from the sum of their individual intensities. So there may be constructive and destructive interference. So what is constructive? If the maxima and the minimas of the waves coincide, that is the intensity of the resultant wave in the region of superimposition will be greater than the sum of their individual. So in this diagram you can see the two waves which are combined may have effect which is the greater than the sum of individual intensities, because here wave forms, that is crest and trap, that is maxima and minima of the wave are matching. So another type is destructive interference. So if maxima of the one eye coincide with the minima of the other eye, that is crest coincide with the trough of the wave, so resultant wave will be the lesser than the sum of the individual intensities. So in this diagram you can see the two waves which are opposite to each other, then there is sum will be lesser than the individual intensities. Interference of the light is represented by the fringe pattern. So bright pattern of the fringe represents the constructive, and dark pattern represents the destructive interference. So in this picture we can see the two waves which are interfering with each other. So we can see the fringe pattern, bright and dark zones in the fringe pattern. Then another property of light is diffraction of light. when an opaque obstacle or aperture is placed between the source of light and screen. So there will be sharp shadow of an or illuminated region is obtained on the screen. So this can be exhibited by this diagrammatic representation. We can see the larger wavelengths when go to the small aperture. There is shadowing or expansion of the edges of the waves. And what are the applications of diffraction? So diffraction set the limit on the visual acuity of the eye. So diffraction source of the image imperfection. So it causes blurring of the vision if pupil is small, because the aperture is small, so there is no proper diffraction is there. Also symptoms like glare and halos which are seen in immature cataract are due to the diffraction of light. Also in case of pinhole test, as aperture is very small, visual acuity may decrease. Light with larger wavelength, that is red, diffracts more than the light with shorter wavelength, so therefore forms a larger diameter of the airy disc. Then another property is polarization of the light. When the vibrations of the electric vector is in one direction perpendicular to the direction of the wave motion, the light is said to be plane polarized or linearly polarized. This phenomenon of confining the vibrations wave in the specific direction perpendicular to the direction of the wave motion is called a polarization. Then partial polarization means mixture of the polarized and non-polarized light. Then coming to the reflection of light, that is the phenomenon of change in path of light without change in the medium is called as reflection of light. So there are two types of reflections: specular reflection and diffuse. Specular occurs at a regular surface, that is like plane surface or spherical mirror. Diffuse reflection occurs at a irregular surfaces. So what laws of reflection suggest that incident ray, the reflected ray and normal are in the same plane, and angle of incidence is equal to the angle of refraction, and path of light is reversible. This can be seen in this diagram. So you can see the blue color mirror is a plane surface. You can see the red color arrow line, one is incident ray, which reflects from the plane mirror. So dotted line shows the normal. So here you can see the angle of incidence, that is I, is equal to the angle of refraction. Also the path is reversible. Then coming to the mirrors, what are types of mirrors? So mirrors can be plane or spherical. Plane mirror is a plain sheet of glass polished on one side and silvered on other. Then spherical mirror is a part of hollow sphere. So there are two types of spherical mirrors. It will be convex and concave spherical mirror. So plane mirror is image formed by plane mirror is which is at the same distance behind the mirror as the object and same size of the object, and image is virtual. So in this diagram you can see the image of this object. This is bottle. You can see the image is seen in the mirror is at the same size, same distance and virtual. Then coming to the spherical mirror. So spherical mirror has cardinal points. So here you can see these are the parallel rays coming to the spherical mirror. As they reflect, you can see that they focus on the f, that is focal length, focal point, and small f, that is the distance between the mirror and focal point. Then c is the center of the curvature of the mirror. So this diagram suggests the various images formed by the concave mirror for different position of the object. So first we can see this object at the infinity. So the image is formed at the f, that is focal point. So at the focal point image will be real, small and inverted. So second ray diagram shows if the image is, the object is in between the C and F. C is the center of the curvature, F is the focal point. Then the image will be real, which is diminished in size, and which will be inverted. So likewise you can see the different types of images. Last one is the when the image is object is near to the mirror in front of the focal point, you can see the image is on the same side of the mirror. Then coming to the convex spherical mirror, so image formed is always erect, virtual and diminished in size with respect to the plane of the object. Here you can see the ray diagram. A and B is the image and A dash B dash is the A and B is the object and A dash B dash is the image. Then coming to the refraction of the light, it is the change in the path of light when there is change in the medium through which it travels. So velocity of light is different in different medium. So here, this is the ray diagram. You can see the this white color one medium is there and blue color another medium is there. It is labeled as substance 1 and substance 2. When light is incident, then there is, you can see there is some deflection of the rays as it goes to the denser medium. So here you can see the dotted line is a normal which is perpendicular to the incident ray, and this is the angle of incidence, and this is the angle of refraction. So likewise laws of reflection, there are some laws of refraction that suggests that the incident ray, refracted ray are on the opposite side of the normal. The ratio of the sine of the angle of incidence is the to the sine of the angle of the refraction is a constant part of the medium. It's called a refractive index of medium. This is the law also called as Snell's law. Then coming to the total internal reflection. When the ray of light travels from the denser medium to the rarer medium, the angle of incidence of the incident ray is greater than the critical angle. The rays get totally reflected back into the same denser medium. This is called a total internal reflection. It is shown in this diagram. So here two medium, air and water, is shown. So dotted line is a principal which is perpendicular. When you can see the blue color ray diagram, ray line, it is at the critical angle, so it is deflected at the 90°. This is the angle of incidence equal to the critical angle. So there is total and internal reflection seen in second diagram, and the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle. All the light undergoes the reflection. Then refraction through the prism. Prism is a refracting medium which having two plane refracting surfaces which is inclined at the angle. Part 1 is refracting angle, second is axis of prism, and 3 is the base of the prism. Light rays passing through the prism is deviated toward the base of the prism, while the object seen is deviated toward the axis or apex of the prism. This is the ray diagram showing the refraction through the prism. Here you can see the red line which is the starting from the P is the incident ray, then EF is a refracted ray, and FS is a emergent ray. Here you can see there is deflection of the rays toward the base of the prism. Then there are various uses of the prism in ophthalmology. So you can see that prisms are used for the measurement of the squint deviation, that is angle of deviation in the squint. So there are various tests, there is prism cover test and Krimsky test. Then it can be measured subjectively with the help of Maddox rod. Maddox rod is a series of cylinders which act as like a prism. So base of prism are prescribed for the isodeviation, and base in prism is described as a exodeviation. This will be covered in your squint lectures. So prisms are also used as reflectors in various ophthalmic instruments such as slit lamp, biomicroscope, gonioscope, keratometer, and applanation tonometer. So coming to the various lenses. So lens is a transparent refracting medium which is bounded by the two surfaces. that form a part of sphere or cylinder. So two types of lenses, spherical and cylindrical. Cylindrical also called as toric lenses. So there are various points regarding to the lenses. That is, center of curvature is labeled as C, then radius curvature is small r. The principal axis is AB, then optical center, that is a nodal point, is N. F is a principal focus and small f is the focal length. So there are various types of lenses. Convex lenses. Convex lenses may have plano convex. There is one area is one side is plane and on the other is convex. Then double convex. Both sides are convex. Then concavo convex. This one side is have concave, now there is convex. Then concave lenses again of three types: plano concave, double concave, and convexo concave. So coming to the convex lens could be plano convex, concave convex, and biconvex. To identify the convex lens, there are some points. That is, it is thicker at the center than the periphery. Object held close to the lens appears as magnified, and as we move the lens from side to side, objects into it moves in the opposite direction. Then uses of the convex lens are to correct the hypermetropia, presbyopia, and aphakia. Then second is a oblique light illumination examination. Then in indirect ophthalmoscopy for magnification we use the convex lenses. So these are the various images formed by the convex lenses according to the location of the image. First is the location of the image is at the infinity. That's location of the object as infinity. So rays are focused at the focal point. Another is between the behind the double focal length. You can see the image is formed between the f1 and f2. So these are the various examples where we can see the different types of images formed by the convex lenses. Then coming to the concave lens. Concave lens or minus lens is a diverging lens. They can be plano concave, convexo concave, or biconcave. To identify the concave lens, it is objects seen through it are minified. Object move in the same direction. It is opposite to the convex lens, and center of the lens is thin as compared to the periphery. So the uses are, it can be used for correction of myopia. Then in ruby lens it is used for the fundus examination with the slit lamp. So this is the ray diagram showing concave lens. So here we can see the object and this is the image. So image is minified, you can see the, and real image is seen in case of concave lens. Then coming to another type of lens, that is cylindrical lens. This is also known as toric lenses. So it has power incorporated only in one axis. It may be minus or plus. Convex cylinder lens is a segment of cylinder of the glass cut in a convex cylindrical mold, while lens cast cover the cylindrical mold is called as concave cylindrical lens. So how it is identified? When the lens is rotated around the axis, object seen through it becomes distorted. Also, when the object viewed to the lens is moved in a seen in moving only in one direction, it has only one axis. The uses are, it can be used for correction of astigmatism. Then in case of cross cylinders, it is used as to check the refraction. Also it is used in Maddox rod, which consists of a series of powerful convex cylinder mounted in a trial lens. So this is the image showing the first is a convex cylinder and second is a concave cylinder. Then Sturm's conite. So what is Sturm's conite? It is a configuration of the rays refracted to the toric surface. This is the cylindrical surface. So it is called as Sturm's conite. So here is the diagrammatic representation of the Sturm's conite. So toric surfaces, as here you can see the two different curvatures. So V is a vertical curvature and h is a horizontal curvature. So h is a curvature is more than the vertical. You can see the different configuration. So on the bottom we can see that these are the cross section at different points of the Sturm's conoid. So point A, where you can see the oval circle is is seen, cross section oval is seen, because here vertical meridian or vertical curvature lies, rays coming from the vertical curvature are converging more than the horizontal curvature. So here you can see the horizontal oval. Then at the B point you can see the horizontal line where vertical rays are already converged and horizontal rays are still converging. So we can see the horizontal line. Then at the point C you can see the same as the A, where again after convergence of the vertical rays they are diverging and horizontal rays are still converging. Then coming to the point D, where we can see the perfect sphere circle is seen, because here horizontal rays convergence and vertical rays divergence, which are of same size. So you can see the perfect circle. Then at the E you can see the vertical oval, where the divergence of the vertical rays are more than the convergence of the horizontal rays. Then at the F we can see the vertical line where horizontal rays are converged but vertical rays are diverging. Then at the point G we can see the again vertical oval where the divergence of the vertical and divergence of the horizontal rays are seen. Then coming to the scattering of the light, when a parallel beam of light passes through the gas, part of it appears in the direction of other than the incident direction. So this is the scattering of the light. So what are the applied aspects of the scattering of the light? So first is the strength of the scattering of the light depends on the wavelength of the light. Thus the red light is scattered least and violet is scattered most. That's why red light is used as in traffic signals. Then second aspect is light of smaller wavelength, that is blue, are strongly scattered by small air molecules. This is known as Rayleigh scatter. That's why sky looks as a blue in midday due to the scattering of the blue part of the light. Then third point, the scattering of the light occurs in various ocular tissues, that is in cornea, corneal haze in corneal edema is seen due to the scattering of the light. Then grayish appearance of the early cataract is due to the scattering of the light. Then the flare in the anterior chamber due to the scattering of the light. Then coming to the photoelectric effect of the light, this which was discovered by the Einstein, that electrons are emitted from the certain metals when they illuminated by the light. This is called as photoelectric effect.